everybody, my name is Noelle Lacharite. Some of you I know, so thanks for coming. It's like my friends, my mom, like thank you. So super excited to be here. I was kind of a last minute ad, so very happy you re-looked at the schedule and thought to enter this room. And for those of you who just didn't want to get up, I'm glad you're here too. It is nice and cool and very warm outside. So what better place to be? I actually have been building voice skills for, well, basically since Alexa was like born as a product. I worked at Amazon for a few years, started at AWS, but then jumped to Alexa as soon as it was born. And then some of you, how many of you have built an Alexa skill? How many of you have built a fact skill? A few of you. So that dates you, right? That's kind of, you're in the good old crowd if you've done a fact skill. It was the first template that we built, first tutorial, and I was the author of that tutorial. So a lot of, and granted now I'm like, drat, we have too many fact skills. So I'm trying to undo that damage right now. But I'm here to actually talk to you about what happens after, or maybe as you're building skills for Alexa. I'm super passionate about building skills. I actually am part of the founding team for a startup called Button Push Apps. We're on the partner page for Alexa skill development. So we're an agency and we help companies. But my day job, I work at Microsoft, and my job there is really to help developers like you leverage AI models to do more, as much as you can. So to set the stage for what that looks like, I want to just, and some of you may have seen this, but on the off chance you haven't, it's good. It gives me, I like it. I watch it over and over. So let's just take a look, see if I know how to do this. The suspense. I can do it. Am I doing it right? Hold on. Oh, I am not doing it right. There's a fictitious version of that on the speaker slide. It doesn't work. Oh, sound. That's my fault, AV. They know what they're doing. It's me who muted my machine. All right, let's try that again. Ooh, where's my mouse?
Right now, you have more power at your fingertips than entire generations that came before you. Think about that. That's what technology really is. It's possibility, it's adaptability, it's capability. But in the end, it's only a tool. What's a hammer without a person who swings it? It's not about what technology can do, it's about what you can do with it. You're the voice, and it's the microphone. When you're the artist, it's the paintbrush. We are living in the future we always dreamed of. We have mixed reality that changes how we see the world, and AI empowering us to change the world we see. You have more power at your fingertips than entire generations that came before you. So here's the question. What will you do with it?
Yo, like that's legit. Oh gosh, every time. Oh gosh, you have to be careful with this thing that happens when they like start showing stuff. Oh gosh, I'm very nervous. Who knows what comment will bring up? Like, you never know. Okay, we're safe. So I always like to start by just kind of setting the stage with something that I have had on my fridge since forever. And it's just a quote, and it really rings true for me now that I'm more involved in AI than ever before. What is success? To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, to endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate the beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child or a garden patch or a redeemed social condition, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. But my buddy Emerson knows his stuff. I like it. It basically is saying, you're gonna build some incredible stuff. I'm about to show you some ways to do it without having to be anyone special. You don't have to have a PhD, though I love you PhD owners in the room. heavily invested in education. But you don't have to have one PhD or multiple. You don't have to be a data scientist. You can now, we are commoditizing AI. Models are available for you through web services that you can call right now to make either your Alexa skills better or really just any app better. But on top of just making your business better, could you also then change the world, help the elderly, fix education, change healthcare, right? There's lots of opportunity for you to do what you will do, make money for your business, but then also change the world. And so, of course, I'm about to go through and show you kind of all these powerful tools. And with great power comes great response. That's Spider-Man, Emerson, like, what more do you need, really? That's it. So, great responsibility. As soon as you know that these tools are available and how quickly and easily you're going to be able to create incredible software, please go build them for people who need it. Yes, and your job too. I know. Being, responsible and powerful is tough work sometimes. So I am Noelle Lacharite. I'm a principal at Microsoft, and I lead developer experience for our applied ML, which is the models that are available to you quick and easy. I specialize in speech because I came from Alexa. I loved the speech technology. However, I was constantly up against, I'm a device person, right? So I liked Raspberry Pis. I built a Alexa bartender, not a skill, yes, a skill, but an actual bartender with DC motors and a Raspberry Pi that made, I'd say Alexa, has anyone got a device? Like make me a Negroni, and it literally would take 5 bottles of alcohol and pour me a beautiful drink. But that was exciting for me. I was device oriented, and as soon as skills came into the mix, I kind of got blocked in certain areas. And I'll talk to you about what I've built recently that kind of steps beyond those boundaries. So it should be both and. This is not an either or conversation. It's just, if you're building any app, mobile app, web app, right, a desktop app. Yeah, people are still doing that, by the way. Desktop app, whatever it is. Think about leveraging speech in it, even if it's not just in the context of maybe an Alexa skill that you might be familiar with. So, oh yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. You should do that. Follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up with the crazy. There are random pictures of my 4 children, just warning you. So they're cute, but it does happen. I try to separate profiles, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Anyway, and yeah, would love to be connected with you guys, add you to the list of friends I have in the voice community. So like we said, more power than ever, right? Change the world you see. Most importantly, conversational AI makes everything cooler and more fun. I have little kids, I have kids from teens to tots, and my little tots, they know how to pick up a phone and look at a screen and hit the microphone button, right? And that microphone button is their access to the world. They can ask YouTube Kids for any video that they want. They don't need to know how to spell it. They don't even really need to know how to say it correctly, and YouTube will figure it out. Similar with even Alexa. I have a son with Down syndrome. Totally changed his ability to interact with the world. He was playing a playlist. I couldn't get him to tell me what it was, but it was awesome. It had the Christopher Cross and Top Gun theme song, all these. I'm like, what playlist is that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, you do know. But the fact that he was able to curate his own list and play it at will and add to it, I mean, all of these things it just changes the world. So to be able to be part of that technology and that shift for organizations is huge. But like I said, it's more than just Alexa. It's more than just Google Home or Cortana even. It's the ability to really infuse this into anything. So all of our speech services at Microsoft, granted, yes, they're Azure services, but they are deployed via web applications. They are RESTful APIs. This is also available on Skillshare.net, so if you want to grab it, you can. They're flexible. We provide them in 4 primary languages and a couple bonuses depending on the speech API you're in. So for speech, we know you're going to use devices, so we deploy it with C++. But also Java, Rust, Node, Python, right? Pick your language. We come to you. We operate in the language that you operate in as a developer. Now you get the benefit of adding natural language to literally any piece of software that you have. It doesn't have to be a skill. It doesn't have to run on a device in 10 million homes, though that's nice, and I would do that too. But now it can run on your mobile app. Now it can run in a website. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So they're of course tested. Our roadmap is driven by you guys, customer feedback, so we always encourage you to say something, yell to us in Stack Overflow user voice. That goes, I literally run the team that curates that stuff, puts it into our backlog, and makes the service teams accountable for saying when that stuff's gonna show up, or at least letting you know not to count on it, right? So, so our goal is to really be very, very close to the developer and understand what your needs are, and then get the product as close to that as possible. So these are all the things that you could do with cognitive services, which are these applied AI models. I will draw your attention to 3 of them. One is speech, of course, speech to text, text to speech, speech recognition, and authentication, so the ability to do speech identification, all within your app, right? Not you build a skill and leverage another API. Like, you can actually do this in any application that you're building. Then we of course have language, the ability to translate language, the ability to have a conversation. Knowledge is my favorite. I can't tell you how many hard-coded skills I have built, at least a dozen, that I ask the customer for all of these questions, FAQs. They hand me a PDF from their company that's like 50 pages of frequently asked questions, and I had to convert it into dialogue. Today at Microsoft, there is a service that does this for you automatically. It's called Q&A Maker. Just like it says, makes Q&A into a voice dialogue. If you have an Alexa skill that does anything like first line service calls or answering questions for HR or anything like that, you can have a skill leverage that today. It takes about 15 minutes to set up a POC. Like, it's incredible. So I only say this to just hopefully plant some seeds. The idea is, it's kind of like when you go buy a new car. I remember buying a Murano back in the day when it was like brand new, and I bought it thinking no one had one. I even bought a white one because nobody has white ones. I drove off the lot, and I kid you not, I saw 3 that day. And I'd never seen one before, before that. But that's what happens, right? This neurological thing kicks off in your brain and starts, right? Now it starts just showing these to you. The filter is on. So my hope here is that by seeing some of these models, the filter will get turned on. And now when you're seeing a project or a skill idea or a mobile app, you'll think, oh, I think there might be a model I could use to soup up what that application is capable of. It's incredible. Like, be able to translate any application into 60 languages. We call it accessibility development. Like, think about if you could do this without having to actually do the translation or hire translation services yourself, how many more people you could get, how much bigger your funnel will be of users coming into your application. So again, you'll have this deck available to you. I'll tweet it out as well, because like I said, it's on slideshare.net. But this is just the idea generation. We are right now building use cases for all of these areas because we did a research study and found out that every enterprise business, like in the top, whatever, Fortune 1000, these are the areas they're focusing on. These models, natural language, conversational interfaces, are extremely popular in customer intelligence and recommendations, customer-facing chatbots, not just message bots like in a text window, which I'll show you, but also the ability to add a microphone, retail intelligence, predictive maintenance, all of them, right? Anywhere where you don't want to use your hands, or more importantly, you have a demographic that just would rather talk. And we all know this because you're here. The future demographic, 20 years from now, yeah, they're all gonna wanna talk. My daughter right now, who's 1.5, 18 months old, she right now is learning at 1.5 that she can press a microphone button and get stuff to happen. I guarantee you when she grows up and becomes an engineer, a consumer, a shopper, an accountant, whatever her future is, she's gonna expect at least at some level to say something and magic happen, right? Code execute. So we are building for that generation, and people always tell me, gosh, you talk like 3 generations ahead. I'm like, yeah, I know. So hopefully you can hang with me. So let's take a look at a demo really quick. It's based on this concept of basically taking a bunch of data in a wide range of formats: video, audio, images, text, handwritten letters, combining it into a single, searchable, understandable format, drawing relationships from it, and then, because it's cool, adding a conversational bot. So let's take a quick look. All right, I'm doing good. Okay. I have to escape out of that and go to my browser. Here we go. So there's this project. Some of you may have heard of this controversy. Some of you not, though. Who knows? Like millennials? Anyway. So there is a controversy today that about 2.5 years ago, the Library of Congress and the government basically released all these docs about the JFK mystery. Hundreds of thousands of docs in all sorts of formats: video, audio, images, handwritten letters, you name it, right? Hundreds of thousands of documents. But they did it in the most user-friendly way possible. Anyone want to guess how they delivered that information to the world? Yeah, in metadata. Score, right? So it doesn't, you just want to like pull that metadata up and start looking for stuff. Very difficult to peruse and find what you need, and it's most importantly extremely difficult to draw relationships across that data. So what a team did last year is they're like, wouldn't it be fun if we like kind of created, they did this whole X-Files thing, created JFK files, and we would provide the ability, and I'll open it now just so you can see it. It's on GitHub, so you can recreate everything that's in here for the JFK files, but again, you could point that to any shared file service, right? Any blob service that has a bunch of data in it, you could point cognitive search there, and it'll do the same type of activity. So I'm gonna launch the app, but you could also build it in GitHub, and I'll tweet these links out so you guys have them if you would like them. So this, oh yeah, I didn't even think about Wi-Fi, so I guess I was signed up for that. Right here you'll see the entry point, right, which is just a query. I'm going to look for Oswald because people tend to remember he had something to do. Anyway, it's kind of sad. We try not to focus on the details. Right, but I go and search this massive amount of docs based on a web-based interface that was used to interpret them. I go and search for this content, provide a search engine. Obviously, someone has to build the UI, but this code that comes back, the values that come back are available via web service. Very simple interface. So when I typed in Oswald, notice what happened over there on the left-hand side. It automatically did what's called entity tagging, right? It went through and identified in all of those docs anywhere that those entities existed, and was able to identify which ones were important and which ones weren't based on where they were, the frequency, and how, I guess, how often they were used across certain document domains. Once that happens, you can see, like, now I can go and be like, ooh, I wonder why, why is Dallas involved? Oh yeah, I know that one. Let's see what else is in there. Like Cuba, what's Cuba got to do with it, right? So there's all these relationships just based on the fact that these entities were pulled out. Now, you'll also, again, free for the use of the service, get this entity relationship diagram that comes just from the data and the entities that were identified, and it shows how they're related. So now you can start drawing, again, impossible if handed the metadata on a USB. Now I can start drawing conclusions about specific hypotheses I might have. So this is fun, but it's very textual. You have to click on stuff and do a search. Let me go back to my Oswald search and just show you kind of some of the stuff that comes up. Oh, I have to just close this out. And you'll see, like, there's text file, it highlights Oswald, there is cursive handwriting, there's a picture, right, a mugshot. And if I look at this, it's even going to use computer vision to identify what's in the picture. In this case, it says Lee Harvey Oswald's posing for the camera. Probably not exactly what happened. I don't think he was posing, but it is quite a handsome photo if you think about it. So that's nice. But I wanted to, which is what my fun activity was a couple months ago, I wanted to build a speech interface for this. So I went in and I said, oh, let me refresh it, because I was testing to make sure it worked on the network. And it does. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh. So I built a bot, right? Not just any bot, the Hoover bot. Does anyone know? Well, I won't make you say, because that will also date people, or people that are so into the controversy you don't want to admit it. But there was, Lyndon B. Johnson became the president. All of a sudden, he's like, holy mama, this person just got murdered and now I have his job. This might be dangerous. So chances are you probably could imagine that he'd want to chat with somebody. And so we figured the person he'd want to chat with the most would be the head of the FBI at the time, which is J. Edgar Hoover. Now, if you dive into that too deep, I mean, J. Edgar Hoover is not a nice guy, but we thought it would be fun to create a bot. So I'm not sure if this is going to work. Acoustic models and open space, but I'm going to try it. If not, the text works as well, which is what's nice about this environment, right? So I have a microphone that I can try and use, but if it doesn't work, I'll just type it in. All right, so the first thing, I'll just say, welcome. AV guy, where's my sound? What happened? It worked. All right, hold on. It's all right, I'll refresh. Suspense is key. I might have planned it this way. All right. You saw it work though. Where's my sound? What the? It did, it just worked. What's going on? What's going on? It really needs to work. Maybe it's because my PowerPoint took the, it's coming through somewhere else?
Yeah, HDMI.
Oh, I see. He's gonna fix it. It'll be worth it, I promise. Yay! Okay, we still have to be super quiet. All right, so now I'll try and say it again. Thank you so much, you rock. Welcome. Let's see. I'm gonna try one more thing. If it doesn't work, we'll be fine. It is Edge, right? Should I maybe try it in a different browser? Would that have anything to do? I didn't just say that. It's going on YouTube, dang it. Okay, maybe not anymore. All right, I'm gonna try it one more time. If not, that's okay. But this is like a cool thing. Oops, Control Z. I'm gonna just try and refresh it. I thought I heard something. Did you not hear anything? I heard it, I heard it. It's not there, why? All right, next thing. I don't think so, I think it's on. You're a rock star. All right, and then I just deleted my mic, so that would be sad. Let's try this puppy one more time. Welcome. That's all right. Okay, so, Lee, you can go now. So what would have happened, and you guys could see this, I've done this demo dozens of times, but this is a custom voice. So basically I curated the voice of, it's so cool, anyway, I curated the voice of J. Edgar Hoover. And actually after the fact, if you want, you can, and we'll get to the next part, which is cool too, but yeah, okay. I did this very simply by going out to YouTube. I grabbed about an hour of audio and I stripped it and placed it into a speech synthesizer, one of these models. I literally went into a website, uploaded a bunch of YouTube audio, and it created this sound. Now granted, the sound was more like he was intoxicated than like the real Hoover, but I did go back and use a markup language, anyone know what it is? To make it sound good. Anyone know? Yeah, that's right, SSML. So I used SSML, I spent about an hour fine-tuning it, and then it actually sounded pretty good. So when I did this demo the first time live, I actually played his real audio on YouTube and then played the synthesized voice right next to it, and it was incredibly good for 3 hours of work. Like to do this work used to take months, years to build synthesize. There's a whole company in the hall that is focused on speech synthesis. Not saying, like, I'm sure whatever they have is good and you should buy some, but it's possible for you to at least tap into some of that, especially around POCs and getting jobs started. The next thing is custom language models. So I don't know how many, I'm gonna just type this in really quick. What is the most? I did, it didn't work. Thank you though, I did try that. Thank you for raising your hand, I didn't answer you. And just jumping in. What is the most important cryptonym? Oh gosh, thank you, oh my gosh. Public typing is horrible. Cryptonym associated with GP floor. Now, it's better when I can say it, but you'll notice, just in case. You'll notice what happened is I typed in a word that is not in the English language. If you say something that's not in the English language to Alexa or Google, and it's like a special word like a brand name, a service name, right? Something you made up. If you are building a game, maybe a species name of the alien species you're conquering in your game, None of that gets picked up and none of it works. And it's super frustrating for someone like me trying to build it outside the scope of some of these assistant products. So when I found this, I was like, this is gold. Now I can go into any language model or any app. I can then take so there are about 280 words, code names, right, that the CIA used in order to describe random things, specifically in the JFK files. So I went in and basically taught the language model that when you hear that, like if I just said this to a normal language model, it would say lowercase g, lowercase p, and floor like the floor you walk on. I can't use that as a query to actually pull something else from a doc, right? Because it interpreted it wrong. So I'd have to do something in code to make magic happen. I wanted to understand exactly what I'm saying in the context of that language, of that scope, and then do a query on that. And so for those of you who haven't played around with language models, you don't realize potentially how interesting this is. But I encourage you to dive into it, into like custom language models and custom speech, because they're just web services. So you'd call it just like you'd call a search API. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So I apologize that it didn't work. If you want to come see it once I'm disconnected from HDMI, I'll just be right here if you want to just come listen to it, like hover around. Because it definitely works, because I never get on stage without testing it first. But because we were back to back up here, I didn't have a chance to test it on stage before we got started. So you're welcome to come see it. But these are things that could change your app and, like I said, make it accessible to way more people than just those who could maybe access it on a smartphone or through a specific device. So the last thing I want to show you is what I started with inadvertently, which is the contact us thing. And it's just like, hey, don't forget to connect with us. So we have a Facebook group. I would love to have you guys there. Just to connect, see the demos that I'm building. I'm building a bunch of really great demos right now for an event. So I'd love your help. They're all on GitHub. They're all open source. So if you want to jump in and start coding with me, I'd be happy to have you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to come listen before the keynotes, feel free. I'll disconnect right now. But thank you very much.